Hello everyone, the December Review here, back again with a movie review today. We have the latest Paul Thomas Anderson film, One Battle After Another. As always, spoilers are ahead, so make sure to check out the film now playing in theaters. So, where to begin when talking about a Paul Thomas Anderson movie? Over the course of the past 30 years, PTA has brought us a multitude of exceptional films, and they include my top 2 favorite movies of all time.
All your rules and your walls and your doors and your people and your money and all these clothes and everything. This game. Everything here. The whole... Nothing is normal or natural or... Everything is a game.
Prepare a list for what you need before you sign away the deed, 'cause it's not going to stop.
They are just a handful of directors today that I would consider must-see. Paul being at the top of that list, along with, of course, Quentin Tarantino, when a new release becomes an event. Think of it like a musician who you like who puts out a new album, or your favorite writer who published their latest book. It's all interchangeable to me. Paul has a way of digging into his characters in such a profound way which really translates on the screen. There are so many reasons for that, and it starts with his written page. The stories are written with a true sense of realism. Sure, things definitely can get exaggerated, but his base point for any given movie begins with usually a relatable connecting point. From there, his vision for what's shown on the screen and how the camera frames its narrative is a character all on its own. There is never not a reason for everything you see within a frame, and that attention to detail can elevate any mundane moment. Of course, you're never going to get an easy film when PTA is involved. He has channeled relationships, mental health, and in One Battle After Another, current events with a challenging viewpoint, which always circles back to the human connections within its story. Battle is the second Anderson film to be based off of novelist Thomas Pynchon's work. His first was 2014's Inherent Vice, a more direct take of its source material. And here Anderson uses Vineland book to outline his story. The movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio as Pat Calhoun, a device specialist with a group called the French 75. Teyana Taylor plays Perfidia Beverly Hills, Pat's partner and 75 member as well. As the film opens, we meet this group along with its other featured members at war with Stephen J. Lockjaw, a military chief played by Sean Penn. Perfidia and Lockjaw end up having an affair while she and Pat welcome daughter Willa. During a botched heist, Perfidia is captured and ends up turning on the group. This puts Pat and Willa into hiding with the help of an elaborate network of friends waiting things out until it all starts to unravel 16 years later. And that's just the starting point here for One Battle After Another. Clocking in at 2 hours and 42 minutes, it's essentially an on-the-run film, with Lockjaw searching for Willa in an evil plot to eradicate his past. And there are multiple plot twists and set pieces, car chases and tension-filled encounters, mostly non-stop during its runtime. So much so that there are so many different films within this film and many different movies I was reminded of in some ways. During the film's first arc, where the French 75 set off, there was an Ocean's 11 vibe with many cast members springing into action to enact its intricate missions, with its score setting the way and tension looming around every corner. As the movie fast forwards almost 2 decades, we see that Pat has become a paranoid addict, lulled into numbness with Willa looking after him the best that she can. When Lockjaw starts to get closer, I was reminded of 2018's Halloween reboot of all things. Hear me out on this one. Laurie Strode survives Michael Myers, becomes a drinking recluse, and prepares her daughter Karen for his return, while Karen thinks she's overbearing and paranoid until Michael does return, bringing her into action with all that she was taught.
Happy Halloween, Michael.
Here's Pat Calhoun, who survives Lockjaw, becomes a drinking recluse, and prepares his daughter Willa for his return, while Willa thinks he's overbearing and paranoid until Lockjaw does return, springing her into action with all that she was taught. And in some ways overall, I was reminded of Star Wars. Really Andor Season 2, which just debuted earlier this year, and I can't recommend it enough. The second half of that season is some of the best Star Wars that I've seen, particularly when Andor and Dedra's forces collide. Just epic storytelling. And that good versus evil, light and dark rise of the Star Wars rebellion theme is front and center here in Battle, at least in its first arc. Now I bring up those other films just as a comparison, not in any way to muddy up any originality that Anderson has created. It's just first impressions after one viewing. Battle is the most expensive film Anderson has made, with reports that his budget was pushing $175 million before marketing. That's an overwhelming number for a director who usually averages out around $30 million per film. But this one also gets a much bigger release and a variety of screenings as well. In addition to your standard projection and IMAX showings, select locations are bringing it to 70mm and VistaVision, the latter of which the film was shot on. And there are some great performances here, starting with Sean Penn, who is one scary person as Lockjaw. He's not just a villain, but a most powerful one. He looks like he could go a few rounds with Brock Lesnar as well. There's no doubt he will be nominated for Best Actor and just might win. It's that menacing of a performance. As a character, he manages to not just enrage the ones he deems below him, but above him as well, as there's this chain of evil power that he is, unbeknownst to him, a pawn in. As the film runs down, it becomes a mission to see which side will eventually take him out, if that's possible. This guy survived something even Michael Myers probably wouldn't. DiCaprio was good here as well. It's clear his character isn't as all into the cause early on, wanting a more peaceful life when it's available, but he's also a skilled technician who is needed. That give and take is a nice balance Leo gets to walk, which eventually gives way to the stoner he becomes later on. DiCaprio shows hints of the dude from The Big Lebowski, shades of just enough bumbling through events with a side of luck to help. Taylor as Perfidia is the wild card here, steadfast in her beliefs while flying too close to the sun to achieve her goals. She is powerful as well and makes a great adversary to Lockjaw. I can see an Oscar nomination here too. While she does remain off-screen later in the film, Battle manages to fulfill her character's arc with a letter of all things. This type of narrative shouldn't work, but here it's not only true to the circumstances, seeing how Perfidia is in hiding, but also shows compassion from someone who was only able to give it through her actions towards the world, not her family, until she is able to take a step back. Chase Infinity as Willa shines as well. Thrown into a world of despair, she manages to trust her instincts and learnings when Lockjaw gets closer. She is the star of the film in the final section of the movie, which culminates in an epic, and I mean epic, car chase. Her reunion with DiCaprio flourishes with tension. That whole car chase really shows Paul Thomas Anderson being at the height of his creativity in many ways. His earlier films may be a bit flashier in terms of camera movement and editing, but this scene really brings this experience full circle. We follow 3 cars through the ups and downs of a barren mountain terrain. A monumental amount of hills and valleys separate them while they drive as fast as they can. Each hilltop is layered onto the next. Who will catch up with who first as the music soars? It's certainly one of PTA's most ambitious climaxes that harkens back a bit to Magnolia in terms of narrative scope, and There Will Be Blood in terms of definitive actions by a character. Benicio del Toro has a supporting role as a karate sensei who apparently is a leader in his own underground network, and he steals the show. He is smooth and in control during his time helping DiCaprio escape Lockjaw. And Regina Hall is a standout as well as a surviving 75 member who helps save Willa. I can literally list and talk about every cast member here because everyone is impactful in some way. It's the hallmark of a PTA movie and a big reason I am a fan. The film is played out in current times, but in many ways it felt retro to me. This could have been set in the 70s, and minus the cell phones, it wouldn't have felt out of place. A lot of the talk leading into this was how funny the film is, and that was not my experience, with the exception of Del Toro. I see where the jokes were intended, but overall I was too wrapped up in the tension of it all to really get their effect. I imagine in later viewings the humor will be much more present now that I know the storyline. Tobe Hooper insisted that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a comedy in some ways. Yeah, no. Jonny Greenwood is once again back as film composer, collaborating with PTA for the 5th time. He previously worked on There Will Be Blood, The Master, Inherent Vice, and Phantom Thread. For Battle, it might just be his best work in some ways. Phantom Thread is tough to beat, but there are a handful of standout moments here. This is Anderson's most energetic film since the back-to-back release of Boogie Nights and Magnolia. It's certainly his most action-packed, so the score will of course reflect that. Early on, there's a grand symphony that builds and builds, reaching heights you will find in John Williams territory. The usual moody Greenwood sounds are all present, and there's a particularly exceptional sequence where we have an acoustic guitar just out of tune, bending and twisting its way through the scene. It almost starts off as if a guitar player is sitting down to tune the thing and instead starts searching for a song. This adds shades of John Carpenter with slight Halloween flourishes in terms of being off-kilter. He's getting a Best Original Score nomination, and that's a sure bet. So overall, One Battle After Another is certainly an action-packed and tension-filled film, worthy of the hype that it's been getting. It's one of the best acted films of the year for sure, and its score is next level. It's also very reflective of current times and can be very abrasive with strong language. Like Tarantino, it's not for everybody. There will be several Academy nominations for the film with good reason. Maybe Anderson will finally get that Best Director award. I've seen the film hailed as the best movie in the past 10 years. Well, like all art, that is subjective. Also, it can't be the best considering that title already belongs to Phantom Thread, which came out in 2017. Side note here, speaking so much of awards, how Vicky Krieps wasn't nominated for Phantom Thread, let alone not win it, just is complete lunacy. One Battle After Another starts and ends on a grand scale. In between is a more personal journey with high stakes and chase scenes. How the film sits within Anderson's filmography remains to be seen, but fans of the writer-director will no doubt have plenty of examples of his continued mastery of the craft, and that final car chase scene is pure adrenaline. Magnolia was Anderson's Shortcuts, then Battle is his Departed. If you're looking for his more introspective stories like Hard Eight or Punch Drunk Love, we eventually get there, but this one includes much more showmanship. I give One Battle After Another 4 out of 5 stars.
Rise and shine.
Bat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock
Why?
because they're not needed.
What time is it?
I don't remember that part. All right, let's just not nitpick over the passwords.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.